Welcome back to New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creatives. It is I, Flobo Boyce, the mayor in the mayor's office, with people who are thinking and doing the dang thing. But my guest this episode is doing the dang thing when it comes to music with a message. Please welcome Cameron Shaw to the show. How's it going, sir?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for being on the show because you out there moving and shaking. One Google search shows you all over the internet, making sure you were in the booth dropping hot tracks, man. This must be a crazy ride you're on right now.
Yeah, man. From where I started, definitely.
What was that like? Was it like a bedroom thing, or was this like in church?
How does more like a basement thing, you know?
Okay, put me on. How was that like?
But yeah, man. It's happening quickly. I'm grateful more than anything. But I always told my family, my friends, the dream for me is just to pay bills off it, and do it full time, and the rest is extra. I obviously love music and I love making music, but I feel we all get caught in the trap of like a 9 to 5 and doing something you hate, or because listen, the real world. Am I allowed to curse on this podcast or no?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. But like the real world, it kicks you in the ass, and things happen. You got family to take care of, responsibilities. What could be anything, And it's like I always felt like this dream was kind of put on the back burner, So to be actually doing it really feels great.
The whole deal about the hip hop culture of New York, the birthplace of hip hop. What was that like growing up and being surrounded by that? Did you do like the ciphers? Did you like write when you were a kid? Did you fall into hip hop? What was your background like?
I always loved hip hop. I guess being from New York, definitely a huge influence. I love Fab, Jadakiss, D Block, obviously Biggie, Nas, Jay. The list goes on, but it's part of our culture for sure. And I've always loved hip hop and basketball. And I feel like they are kind of intertwined together. But really, I got into it. I had an injury playing basketball as a kid. I hurt my spine. I was in 8th grade. Yeah, fractured my back. And I had big hoop dreams, granted I was never going to be that tall anyway. Yeah, man. So that derailed my love for basketball. Also as a kid, you don't realize how good you actually have to be to do anything in the sport outside of anything high school. It's just insane. Right. But, yeah, so that kind of got me into music, but also I had some personal situations and, I told some of my last podcasts and interviews, but it's true. Writing music is cheaper than therapy. It's helped me through a lot of personal stuff. But to be in New York, of course, it is a part of the culture. And I did rap in a lot of ciphers growing up, all from, whether it be a rap battle at school or, I've had a couple ciphers in the hood, and just a little bit of everywhere. I've done million talent shows as a kid in community college before I went to a 4-year spot. I used to perform, outside. I would go to the city and bring my, my speaker with me and a mic. But music's always been a part of my life.
There had to have been a point in your career where you're like, okay, look, this is great for fun, but I want to make this my thing. And was it a particular inspiration of a song? Was it kind of like you looked into the mirror one day? Was the world changing? And you're like, nah, I got to express myself. What was the moment for you?
Listen, man, I've quit music so many times. I only say that because it's like you said, it's not really paying bills and your friends don't share it. Here you are spending thousands of dollars on equipment and places to go and record, putting your heart and soul into this outside of your job, your whatever job you do to make money, right? Mm-hmm. And it's depressing. Today's age is all social media and clout, so it's really easy to give up. And I've had situations to go back and forth, but I don't know, man. Part of me, I think, before I met my management and my team, and that was a big part of it also. I never knew anybody. I never knew the right people. I never had connections. I guess you could say I had some form of talent, but there's so many things that go into place. Like I told someone, one of my managers once when I first met him, like, yo, like such and such, like he's huge, but like I think his music's trash. Like not in a hater way, but it's like, showing him that lyrical skill doesn't matter, right? And he put it in perspective. It's like, everyone's going to have their own fans. Anyone's going to have their own taste of what they like. But that artist that you see right there, you might think he's whack or whatever. Obviously, he's successful. But that person has 100 elite people behind them. Stylists, photographers, road managers, everything. And these are the most elite people at what they do in their industries behind backing this person. You know, that's what it takes, man. It takes a team. But I had a moment at one of my last professional jobs. I used to run enterprise rental car units, and I met a customer who became my manager. But yeah, man, at that point when he saw me, I've already kind of accepted that this is it for me. Like, I'm gonna have a decent life. I'm gonna make, solid money, might have a family, but music is not going to be in the cards for me because, to get people to genuinely rock with you is too hard. And, it feels like a big waste of financial resources and time. But until I met him, it didn't change until that moment. And I'm kind of bringing back the old me. Like, when I was a kid, not to sound naive, but I thought I was going to be famous. I was like, oh, dude, these rappers are trash. Like, they don't actually care about music. Like it's hot garbage today, It's like, and I really thought it was a skill thing, right? But that was kind of the shift of music from lyrical rap to what it is today. And I love the music today. I get lit to it. I vibe out to it. I really like lyrical stuff as well. But just that whole time frame for me was really, really difficult. But anybody listening, you need a team to do what you got to do. I'm not saying you can't start your own business. You can do whatever you want, but you need to get the right people around you. And ultimately, it just takes discipline. Finding that hours of energy after you get home from your, backbreaking job, to invest in yourself again. Like, that right there will tell you if you want to do it bad enough. Because if you don't have that energy, you'd rather play video games or watch TV or Netflix, and it's like, you kind of know what your future holds.
Well, I had a chance to check out some of your songs, and some of your tracks, and this one here kind of spoke out to me. The "Please Don't Hate" track. We all 2020 was a powder keg in this country. We're all at home. We were frustrated for reasons before the pandemic, but we're all kind of seeing how the world was treating our citizens and how we're treating each other else. What was your take on that from your background about what was happening in the Asian community?
So I'm half Chinese and half white or half European, right? My dad's like the whitest man alive, right? But yeah, man, in that time span, I guess during the pandemic and everything, Asian hate crimes grew like, I don't know, past 300% from what they were like from previous years. Like, so during that time, I got, my grandmother's 410, lives in Spanish Harlem, like does not live in a good area. They've always lived in the hood their whole lives. I think about them. They're throwing old women in front of trains and throwing acid in front of people's faces. It's not because they're Asian. I'd be sticking up for anyone, right? But of course, I felt more of an impact being what I am, but I just feel the Asian community doesn't have an Americanized voice speaking for them. In hip hop, for sure. But just the community itself, right? They don't have like anyone in the pop culture back. And they do have people like actors and actresses, of course. But, if I'm going to pursue music at a real level and I'm going to have a platform and fans and people that look up to me, it's like, you got to do the right thing. Right. So I'll tell you, man, for me, the race stuff was always weird because, I've experienced so many different things, not even to me or directly to me, but when I used to run enterprise rent a car, right? I got promoted a lot. They moved me to a lot of locations, rich areas, hood areas, in between spots, right? And my best customers were Black people, African Americans. They're my best customers, right? Because they would drive 40 minutes to come see me. I get promoted. I go the opposite way. Same customer would drive down there, and I'll just call the guy John for now, but he comes to my store and I'm like, bro, like, listen, man, I feel bad. You don't got to drive 40 minutes to come see me. Like, I'll call the guy in your town and, I'll make sure they take care of you and whatever the deal is. And he was just like, yeah, okay. I'm like, you don't get it, bro. You don't get it because, you've never treated me like you think I'm going to steal the vehicle. You've never treated me like, I'm doing something wrong or I can't afford it. Like, that's why I drive an extra 40 minutes. That's why, because I know when I get to you, you're going to treat me normal. We're going to have a good time. It's not going to be no problem, right? So I've had these eye-opening experiences. My manager, right, at that store, one of them, Black dude, cool-ass dude. Shout out to my guy, Julian, right? He's a really good dude, man. And when we were in, like, super pompous, arrogant, rich areas, right, he the customer, I loved him because he didn't take anybody's shit, right? The person would be 8 hours late. we call them, leave voicemails. Hey, Mr. Jones, like, you're 3 hours late. It's like, bro, you wouldn't make a reservation with your family to get dinner and show up 3 hours late and expect to get seated. You know what I mean? But no one gives a shit about a rental car. So long story short, I just remember him like not taking people's shit respectfully, just letting them know, hey, we'll help you, but you're very late. We left you messages. Not what we don't let you know, we're going to help you. But people would stand up and they'd be like, this is crazy. Let me speak to your manager. And I'd be standing right next to them. And then they'd look at me and I'd be like, you're speaking with me. So things like that, where it's so like subtle but not subtle, that I've been surrounded by like my life between my friends, myself. It's like not everything today is about race, of course, but at the same time, there's no denying that it does play a role in a lot of events and situations. But that Asian hate song was really just a message like, I don't know about you, but like, I'm not taking this stuff. This is crazy. No one's saying anything. Media's not talking about it. People are literally dying. I'm not comparing it to any other type of racism. I'm just speaking on what's happening in New York City, where we're from, in New York, right?
Yeah.
That was it, man. I just had to say something.
Our past, right? Being minorities here in this country, where there are like the preconceptions, and there's like the model minority, then there's like the good ones, and what does that mean as a creator? And as I come from comedy, that's my background, and I can't deny it. If you guys haven't seen my face before, I'm a brother. But sometimes I come up with material, I'm always like, am I going too far? Am I going far enough? Is it my place to say anything? Should I say more? Did you have the same situations with this one, or is this kind of like speak from your heart, solar flare out, move on?
I wanted to speak from my heart, of course, but I also don't want the perception of me to just be the guy that talks about Asian racism all the time, or the guy that, that's his thing. It's like, listen, I'm cool being an activist, but I want to be known as Cam, the dope rapper who inspired people, who happens to be Asian and does what's right. You know what I mean? That's my whole thing. It's like, I'm cool being a poster boy for, peace anywhere, right? But at the same time, like, I want to be known for my craft, and obviously of what I do outside of music, but always in a positive light,
And I wanted your take on this, because growing up in the 90s in New York and Brooklyn, hip hop was more lyrical, right? You had someone just boom bapping, and you did 16 or 32 bars in your cipher, you called it a day. Hip hop nowadays, I'm not going to say it's better or worse. That's not my place to say. It's a craft, but it's more melodic. And I think that's fair to say. What's been your approach to the craft? I mean, there's a whole, look, I'm from an area, a time where lyrics reign supreme, but now it's really about being smooth at the same time. What's been your approach when you're crafting the songs?
Today is more, and you said that very well, but I would say it's more about like a vibe they're looking for today. The beat is good. You're already 80% of the way there. You know what I mean? If people like the beat and can move to it, so no disrespect to any of the non-lyrical styles today. It's just like you said, music is changing, right? There's no better, there's no worse. You respect all aspects of it, because a lot of the music that we grew up on shaped what we hear today, right? It's almost more like rock stars today, but my take on it is, personally, I prefer lyrical rap. I'm not saying I'm Eminem. I'm not saying I'm Joel Ortiz or Joe Budden in his prime, or Jay, or I'm not. Those are my goats. Those are the people I listen to. But for me, I want to combine some element of the old school with today's new school vibey melodic sound. And I like to sing too. I'm definitely more of a rapper than singer, but I really like Juice WRLD, the Kid Leroy. I love Post. They make great music. It's not really always about just crazy lyrics. I don't want to. Some people don't want to think about the 4 quadruple entendre, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But try to combine elements from both the old and the new is kind of where I'm at, and I enjoy it.
I know everyone gets inspiration differently. Try to get inside the process for you here, Cam.
It depends, man. It depends on the project. If I got features on it, who I'm featuring. But to answer your question, for me, it's definitely more by song basis. If I'm feeling a certain way, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do a party joint. Maybe I'll do, a metaphor for music being a chick. Common's done that. But, maybe music's a girl in this and I'm writing a letter to her, or maybe, it's a perspective of me when I was younger, telling you my life, a part of my life or something, So it's definitely song by song. It really kind of depends on the instrumental and the mood, and also my emotions. Like, where am I at mentally at that time.
Well, someone's probably listening to you now and a little bit a step or two steps behind. Maybe they have a little 2-channel mixer in the bedroom, or maybe they're trying some gigs around town. Like, what's something that you learned that no one really taught you that you can pass the game down to someone who's trying to start off that you can share today?
Oh, that's a really great question, man. The number one, I would say get a team. Find people that are like-minded like you. Ultimately, you can't do it alone. You can try. I'm not saying it's impossible. I mean, look at Russ. Even Russ, someone who mixes, master, records, produces, and writes platinum songs all by himself, needed help. You know what I mean? If someone like that needs help, then you're probably going to need people around you that you can trust that are also equally passionate. It's one thing to like to do something for fun or have a hobby, but for me, it's different now. You know, it's a lot more pressure. It's very different. I'm thinking of my family. I'm thinking of my parents. You know, this music dream is not just, take care of me. It's take care of everybody you love, anybody who's helped you, anyone who's genuinely showed you. I feel like I'm a good person, right? And I really do want to pay that forward. Got to make money first, right? But I would say you need a team, number one. But number two, you just got to take it way more serious. You got to be disciplined. At the end of the day, it's like when I go to record, because I can't mix and master myself, I go to these places and I go there ready to work. I'm not here to, there's a Joe Budden interview in the green room where he does a freestyle, but he's like super pissed off because, people are messing around beforehand and he's busy and he's got to get, and he's unsigned at the moment and he's trying to figure stuff out. But he felt disrespected because of a time lapse and they're wasting his time. That's how you got to be. You got to be a savage mentally. You can't let anybody take you down. You got to do it consistently. You need a team, like I said, but ultimately you got to be ready to work. When I go to the studio, I'm not there to bullshit. I'm not there to, and these are some of my best friends, right? That record, mix, master me. These are we have fun, of course, but ultimately when I'm there, like, I'm leaving there, I always say one time on the track, one time. It's one of my things I say, right? I say that because of efficiency. I'm not here to waste it. It's your most precious resource that you'll always have is time. And once that shit is gone, you ain't getting it back. But financially, I can't waste the time because it's expensive to even be there recording. And two, it's like, why are you going to the studio if you're not really going down there to really work, not just write music, but like really work? You should go there with your songs finished, memorized, like it's just a different level of seriousness. If you can master that in yourself and ultimately take away less pleasure, because comfort will destroy you, right? Take away shitty food, video games. I'm not saying weed, you do whatever you want, right? But whatever your vices are, if you take away that, like, put it towards music. Right. So it's just a different level of seriousness you need to have, discipline within yourself, and ultimately you can't do it alone. So.
And I'm going to ask you a question I'm sure you get all the time, and you don't have to sell the game if you don't want to, but a lot of times people say the importance of getting a team or a bullpen or a board of trustees, no matter how you look at it. A lot of people who are at a certain level of success feel that way. But the next question you usually get is, what's the first step? Like, what do I go first? Do I get a publicist? Do I get a manager? Do I just go out in the middle of Times Square and be like, yo, sign me today? What was the first step I should do if I'm looking to build a team?
You need to have a catalog of music first. You don't even have music. You don't have enough music. You can't go anywhere. So you need to be undeniably great in some type of way. Doesn't need to be lyrically. Doesn't need to be sonically. Doesn't need to, you just have to be likable. And that's my biggest piece of advice is be likable, right? Learn to shut your mouth when you need to and listen, right? Don't have an ego. A lot of these young cats, their issue is they have an ego. They feel like they know, right? Know the answer. But it's like, when you look at the most successful people, they've hired really, really smart people around them that are really good at what they do, and they're able to motivate and lead them, right? But it's a collective effort. I would say most importantly, make sure the music is right. You can't do anything, before the music is right. You have great music to show somebody or pitch to somebody, you'll be in a good spot. You can find, recruiters and different resources, right? You have to obviously be careful. Music game is not for the faint of heart. I've gotten my heart broken a million times, right? I've been 7 hours to not perform. You know what I mean? I've gone through a million things, and without those heartbreaking experiences, you wouldn't be able to appreciate the good times, right? So a lot of it's perspective, but ultimately, to answer your question, you need to make sure that music is great. You need to be so confident in your ability to perform and do your thing that it's like, obviously we all got to start somewhere. There's nothing wrong with open mics or I think one thing for me is I never felt I was better than anyone or better than any event or anything. I would perform for free. You know what I mean? I didn't give a shit. You know, if it was an opportunity for me to get better, you get out there, right? So once again, it all comes back to that last question, mentality, right? But you need to make sure that music is right, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of your genre. Make sure you're happy with it genuinely. You have at least, I don't know, 25 songs that you're like, okay, these are dope. These are dope, you know, like undeniably. So it's just a different level of amateur to, because there's millions of amateur people out there competing with you, and there's millions of people that are better than you, right? So it's a collective effort of everything to be seen.
Dropping signs. Do you believe in days off? And if you do have days off, what does Cam do on a day off?
Yeah, man. It's the whole hustle culture is, although I work hard and you know I have that mentality, right? There's so many things you got to get right collectively to level up, right? And I'm still in the process. I'm not perfect, but half of it is getting shape, man. Right? So I work out, of course. Try to work out. Even if you just walk, right? But do something. There's no excuse to look like shit and feel like shit. Honestly, there's too much technology. You know, you have enough time. You do. You know, people want to hear it, but you do, right? So work out, of course. I'm trying to eat healthier, but I like video games, which I've cut a lot because of this music stuff. I'm a big nerd, you know. I love sports. I love basketball. But really just hanging out with friends, mainly my family. You know, I love my family more than anything. So really hanging out with them, kicking it with the dogs, you know, normal stuff.
Yeah, 100%. That hustle culture is cool, but it can be very destructive.
And everybody's a guru, right? It's like,
oh yeah, I got a couple Instagram memes. I'm gonna post them up and be an expert. Why the hell not? Yeah. Well, I want to say before we get out of here, man, because I know you have so much stuff available now. You're about to blow up. I want people to know how dope you are. So if you can drop a couple bars, you know what I'm saying, share the wealth a little bit. I'll be greatly appreciated, sir. Please.
I could do like softer stuff. I'll do a more lyrical joint.
Okay.
If you guys like this, yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Break bread with legends. First place, still allergic to second. I never second guess it. And this will be my last confession. The flow was crazy. Don't you ever doubt the progression. They try to hit me up. Now I don't respond to the message because every yell I took was a lesson. Yeah, it's what you love could be gone in a second. That's the reason that I'm counting my blessings. Like, hey, regardless, I be causing a ruckus. Got big dreams, smoking a blunt out in Nantucket. Business meetings out in fucking. I'm talking Thailand, because I can do this without the help of a Vivance. I'm not the type to sit around and just bystand. I'll never take a day off. Always understood the assignment. Recognize that what I want for my future coexists with every goal in alignment. So they passing out titles now, because everybody wins. You get a trophy. Just do this cancel culture. Poster boy for defiance. Cameron Sean got that fine wine flow. I got the beat down to a science. Stop hating. Y'all accustomed to jocking styles and dick riding. I'ma go hard for the squads who keep the beat knocking. I'm old school like Reeboks and beatboxing. You're in the presence of a legend. Homie, I wouldn't try it. I'm dope with the rock in my hands. I'm letting bias. And every verse that I've laid is considered timeless. It's the flow that will lull after sampling juice. Hit a virus. Karen always speaking on some high shit. One day, only be prestige, your majesty, your king, or your highness. Not the way if you're spineless. It's one of New York's honors.
Damn, gee.
I'm going crazy in the background. I apologize.
Nah, it was great, man. I mean, damn. Okay. Trophy for you. Trophy for everybody.
Yeah.
Yo, respect, Cameron Shaw. Yo, if I'm listening right now and I want to follow you, connect with you, book you on a tour, how do I go about doing that today, sir?
Literally, the @ Cameron, Cameron, Sean, my middle name, Sean, music, one word. @ Cameron Sean Music.
That's the name right there. Right now, it's going to be maybe 2023. Maybe might be the breakout year, or it might be the year you cross over. Maybe is it crossover a bad thing? Is that a good thing? Now I don't know anymore.
I'm cool with that. I mean, honestly, bro, for me, it's like every day is a step towards it. You know, I think just to give you one last sentiment before I leave, what makes people give up is that feeling of working your ass off, and each day you don't see anything, right? Each single day you're grinding, you don't see shit. It's easy to get in your feelings and feel sorry for yourself. You know what I mean? once you realize that those are just little bricks, like foundations, like you keep doing it. It can be anything, working out, eating healthy. You do it all in succession, consistently hold yourself accountable. It's like, well, your life can change. I want to be living proof that your life can change, that you can be whatever you want, that a 9 to 5 is not it for you. That doesn't have to be, that's all for you. If you want, you know? So I don't know, man. I just want to inspire people. You know, I know everyone's got secret things they love to do other than whatever their life consists of currently. So I believe in you.